Hello and welcome back to the jewelry box build. The last piece of woodworking that needs to be done before we get into sanding, varnishing, and the final assembly is to make sure that the lid of the box, which has been cut to fit the box snugly, is trimmed back a little bit so that these washers separate the sides of the box from the lid. That's what allows it to open and close without rubbing. The washers are about a 32nd of an inch thick. That's 0.79 millimeters. It's a number 8 brass flat washer. I usually get them at Bolt Depot, but you can probably get them at Lowe's or on Amazon. And so now that you can see that the lid is fitted snug and these don't fit, I have to just trim both these edges back about a 32nd of an inch. So we'll go over to the table saw and I'll do that now. So here we are at the table saw. I've got the two poplar boxes that I use for setup. On one of them, this one, this style and this style are not exactly the same width. When I cut it to fit inside the box, one ended up being about a 32nd wider. So I'm using this opportunity to trim them down to even that up. With this other box, they are the same width. So I'll be trying to shave just a 32nd off each edge. I do it pretty much by eye. I try to get it so the washers are a little bit snug, and then when I sand away the saw marks, it is a nice snug 1/32 of an inch. And that's what I'll do now. Still a little bit tight. No, that's it. I'm going to leave that until I'm done sanding. That'll be fine. Hard to see. I've got one washer. You can see it out of focus, but one washer is in place. The other washer is started. A little bit more light. It's started, but it won't go. But with just a little bit of sanding, that'll be snug. And that's the kind of accuracy I try to work with so that the lid isn't sloppy. It makes it difficult for the lock to work. It's really important to dial it in. I may shave this back with a hand plane just once, or I may just do it with a 120 grit and a sanding block. Now let's do the other one. That one's good. I'm going to try and spin it so it's in the light. That one again is just, I can force it. Just the tiniest bit. I'm going to leave that for, I might try it. I'll try it on the table saw just to see if I can get it. It's just a half of a 32nd, so about a 64. So that one's in. I put the washer in first and fit the lid, it's snug. So with a little bit of sanding, that'll be just right. And that's it. Now we get on to hand sanding and varnishing. So this is how things look. We have the boxes with the fitted lids. This is a pile of trays. All the parts for the tray dividers and the dividers that go under the trays are already varnished and polished, ready for assembly. The trays have been partially sanded. They're ready for more hand sanding. The boxes themselves are ready for sanding and varnishing. I've got a couple out as I was fitting escutcheons. The escutcheons are ready to go. And now we're just going to talk for a minute about hand sanding. I use a couple of sanding blocks. I've tried a lot of things over the years, but I really like these for the coarser grits. This is a piece of vinyl flooring. It has a piece of vinyl on top, then Homasote, and then cork. It stays flat. It works really well. And then for getting up the last grit, 220, before I varnish, this is a solid felt block. I use it. I've used them for years and years. They're softer and they work better with the 220 grit, but then also for sanding the varnish and then the final polishing. And we'll get to the polishing later, but for right now, what I want to get across is one of the most important things that goes into the box is this last, it can be anywhere from 10 minutes to a half an hour of just hand sanding. I start with the box upside down. This is a piece of 150 grit. I think it's called Moxon, but I think it's the 3M stuff is probably better. This is a piece of 3M 120. It's the purple, of course. And I start on the inside. I do the field of the bottom panel. I do the profile. I do the edges of the box. And then I do this edge of the outside edge of the box. I start with the sanding block. I'm getting right here's a fingerprint from the glue up, so I'm cleaning that up. You can see that the panel's free, and that's important so it won't crack from expansion and contraction. I take a piece, usually something that has been used more, and I get in and sand this, and then the top. I don't want to waste you guys' time. but that's what I do. I think the flat surface, this bottom edge, do it with this. And that's it. Then I do it quick. The 120 takes the most time because you're breaking all the edges. And then again, to get the edges down in the profile. And then with the 180 grit, it's usually good to get some of the sawdust off. The 180 grit I'll do with the felt block. And then the last one I would do is the 220. I don't want to waste your time. But real quick, just this once. And that's all it takes. You don't have to scrub it too much. And then just real quick to get on the inside of the profile. And the outside corner will do again. When doing the inside surfaces, it's really good to have a sanding block that's shaped like a diamond. We're going to go over to the chop saw real quick and show how to make these. Okay, so here's the chop saw. I've got it all set up. I've already made one, but it's just a piece of wood. This is a piece of oak that's 3/4 of an inch thick. It's about 4.5, 4 3/4 inches wide, and cut with a 45. And then I just cut a parallel cut on the 45. I'm going to reposition here real quick. And that's it. That's kind of what you're looking for, and that will get into all the corners. So let's go back and do that. So we're back at the bench. We're doing some sanding. We have the sanding block. Get the sandpaper. This is the 180 grit. And from cleaning up the glue on the inside edge, I'll try and show that. Maybe like that. And I just use the sandpaper coming in like this. a little bit to clean up right in the corner, and then like this. And that's it. I do that for all the corners. And then it's kind of obvious, these sides, the exterior part of the sides, I just sand those like I sand the bottom with the sanding block by hand. I'm going to sand a couple of these up, and then I'll explain the varnishing. I have a new spray gun. It's a replacement. I use the same spray gun, and we have a brand new one, so I'm going to show how I set that up, and then how I use the spray booth. I use a varnish, and we'll talk all about that next. This is the spray gun I use. I've been using it for years. I just trimmed the bottom and the edge off the packaging. It is from Lowe's, and get it out. I save all the packaging. I can pull this out. It is the Cobalt air gravity feed spray gun, and important to save this because it has the 3-year warranty. They never make it 3 years, so I just keep returning them. But other than that, it's a really good gun. I have a coupler that I use that I put on the fitting, and then I put that on there. One of the important things about this is that, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, it has the .4 millimeter nozzle. That works really well for the varnish I use. And so that's the gun. We're going to get set up in the finishing room and show you how I do things in there. So we're in the finishing room. This is the varnish I use. It's a M.L. Campbell product. It's, I think, a conversion varnish. It's called Crystal. I use the high gloss. It needs to be mixed 10 parts of the varnish with 1 part of the catalyst, and then I put in between 1 and 1.5 parts of the care reducer. I'm going to try to do that now. When you do this and work with this, you need to use a mask. I'll try to put the link. This is from Amazon. The mask has a face, a plastic face protector to put over, because if the varnish gets on the plexiglass mask face, you can't get it off. Also, I wear gloves. You need some kind of gloves. These work pretty well. And let's get started. A situation where you have to hold a lot of things up off the countertop. So I'm going to pan just a little bit. I spend a lot of time doing stuff with old soup cans. I use those to measure things. I use it to hold up the boxes, and then when the boxes come off the Lazy Susan to dry, I also stack them on empty soup cans. It's just one of those things. So with this, I'm going to show you here, you have to come up to the 10. I use the soup cans because they fit inside the 1 gallon cans, and you can pour them without it spilling. So it's leaking in the gallon can of varnish. I gotta focus here a little bit. And I should be wearing a mask with this, but we'll do just this one. So that is at 10. And I let this drain on the upside down lid of the box. I'm going to try to reset here. So that's at 10, and then the Care Catalyst, I'm going to give that a little shake quick just in case. I don't know if it's, I think it's just an acid, but we have to get that to 11. Just a little bit short. It should do it. It's a little bit much. I'm going to give that a quick mix. And then a little bit of the Care Reducer, which is like a thinner. I'll try to do this so that you guys can see. Not much left. Right there. That's it. Okay, I'm going to mix that up, get it into the spray gun, and then show you how I spray the box. So I have a plastic bag with the can and a mask on, so I can't talk while I spray. This shows the Lazy Susan. It screws 6 cans and a piece of varnish flooring, so that it's inexpensive to throw out the cans and the bent flooring of a couple of years. On top of that, I put another piece of wood with more cans that I use to support the piece being sprayed above the fire so that air can flow around it. This is the lid. I'm doing the bottom of the lid, and I like it in here on. One thing I didn't say is after sanding, I wipe everything down with a clean cotton rag, and then when it gets to the finishing area, I wipe it down with a paper bar. I use a spray gun to put the surface of the varnish onto the workpiece. I spray enough to it to get